What's up, good people? Tiffany Tayus, the tax sale expert. So we're on another night of Black History Month where we are honoring Black pioneers in real estate. And so tonight we're going to be discussing Bridget Biddy Mason. Y'all, I'm learning right along with you, good people. Listen, because I didn't know about any of these individuals who basically paved the way for me to invest in real estate, for me to own real estate. You feel me? So I feel obligated to be able to celebrate them and thank them for making a way for me and so many others. You feel me? So let's go. Bridget Biddy Mason. So she would like to be referred to as Biddy, but she was born into slavery in Mississippi in 1818. She was owned by slaveholders in Georgia and South Carolina before she was returned back to Mississippi, okay? Now, when she was returned to Mississippi, her new enslaver was a Mormon, and he decided to take a journey to a Mormon community out in Salt Lake City, Utah. Now, during this time in the mid to late 1800s, Utah was still a part of Mexico. So this particular journey, Biddy and her enslaved family, the enslaver's family, they all took this trip to this new Mormon community. Now, along the route, this route was 1,700 miles, where Biddy and her 3 children, she had 3 kids, 10, 4, and she had a newborn. They had to walk behind a 300 wagon caravan. But during this trip, during the 1,700 miles, Biddy was responsible for setting up and breaking down the camps. She was responsible for cooking all the meals. She was responsible for herding the cattle and serving as a midwife. Biddy was doing a lot. You feel me? And she was doing this with her 3 kids. So in 1851, Biddy's enslaver decided to move once again. And this time they're going to California. Okay? So despite California being illegal against slavery, Biddy and other enslaved people were still taken to California as property, as slaves, okay? So, but along the way on this trip to California, Biddy, she met this couple, Charles and Elizabeth Rowan. And these two individuals was a black couple, but they were a free black couple. Now, they let Biddy know that slavery is illegal. So they let her know what it is and what it ain't in California, and free is what you should be. So Biddy still went on along the way, and for 5 years, she was still a slave to her enslaver. But after these 5 years, Biddy decided to go ahead on and sue her enslavers for her freedom. Now, her enslaver, listen, y'all, they didn't want to let Biddy and her family go. They wanted to keep them as slaves, even though they're in California and they're fully aware that this is illegal. So what they decided to do is try to move her around to another state like Texas. They tried to smuggle her up out of California and send her to Texas, because Texas at that time was a slave state, right? But Biddy friends, the ones that she met along the way, they went over to the sheriff's office and let them know what was going on. The sheriff's office decided to put Biddy and her family in protective custody. Okay, now, put her in protective custody. Biddy's case was sent to court, but this was a court where black people were not able to testify on their behalf. But guess what? Biddy did. Biddy testified on her behalf, and guess what? She won. She won in court, and she got her freedom. Plus 13 members of her family. Biddy did that thing. Come on now. This was the first ruling of its kind in California and set a precedent for future cases that became before California courts. Biddy was not, that's what I'm saying, Biddy was doing her doggone thing. So, Biddy, then 38 years old, she moved her family to Los Angeles. So she was already in California, but now she decided to move her family to Los Angeles. Now, even though California was a free state, it was far from being a safe place for black people. It was still unsafe. You feel me? So many slave owners ignored the laws, and there were bounty hunters who traveled the area looking for black folks. They would kidnap free black people and try to return them to their former owners. Crazy. So now, Biddy made sure she stayed free. Her and her family remained free. But as a free individual, Biddy never really got to learn how to read or write. But from older enslaved women, she learned about herbal medicine and how to be a midwife and different things that help her to be able to figure out a way to make money for herself. You feel me? So these skills were able to get her as a job as a nurse. She was very skilled in her work, and she spoke Spanish fluently. She didn't know how to read or write, but she spoke Spanish fluently, okay? Which was very helpful to the doctors and the patients of all backgrounds. Now, her reputation as a healer and a midwife allowed her to open up her own business. Listen, y'all, Biddy is not to be played with. Come on now. They're saying that Biddy was a savvy businesswoman. She saved her earnings and made sound investment decisions in the rapidly growing town of Los Angeles. In 1866, Biddy made her first land purchase at 48 years old. Biddy was out there buying land, y'all. She paid $250 for a lot, and that lot sat between 3rd and 4th Street behind Spring Street. Now, some accounts indicate that the land investment was a major focus of her life, but more reliable accounts show that it was likely that she was securing land for her family's future by owning land on which they could live. Biddy, she was a very smart woman. 2 years later, she purchased more land. She got some more land. You understand? And at this time, this area was considered out of town where she purchased this land at, right? Today, it is the heart of the oldest part of the city. In 1875, Mason sold the north half of the Spring Street property to K.H. Jones and Charles M. Wright for $1,500. So that lot that she paid for $250, she just sold it for $1,500, right? She sold another lot on Olive Street in 1884 for $2,800. That's some of the prices that I'd be selling for the lots that I have now. But I digress. At that time, she also had Spring Street parcel deeded to her grandsons. Her daughter was also given land to live on until she passed away. As the town grew, her property became prime urban lots. Location, location, location. You feel me? And she accumulated a fortune of nearly $300,000, which pretty much equates to today's time as $10 million. Listen, Biddy was not playing no games at all. Listen, Biddy was generous to everyone around her. She used her wealth to become a philanthropist for the entire LA community. She gave food, shelter to the poor of all races. She donated to churches. Needy people often line up for medical help in front of her house on Spring Street. You feel me? Biddy was instrumental in founding Travelers Aid Center and an elementary school for Black children. The opportunity to worship as they please was important to Black people in California. So in 1872, Biddy and her grandson Charles Owens, they founded and financed the Los Angeles branch of the First African Methodist Church. This was the first Black church in Los Angeles. Listen, Biddy was a bad girl. She was a bad girl. Now, Biddy passed away January 15th, 1891 at the age of 73. In 1988, the mayor of Los Angeles and the members of the church that she founded held a ceremony during which her grave was marked with a tombstone. Let me tell y'all something. Bridget Biddy Mason, sis, thank you. You did that. Congratulations on everything. Generational wealth, understanding the power of ownership, investing in you and your family. Girl, you did that, and guess what? I am so proud of you. Thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for us.